learners. Welcome back to your TV classroom. Today is Tuesday, January 26th. I hope you're doing great. I hope you had a good night last night. Let's check in with our zones. Let's see how our bodies are feeling and our emotions and our brain. What are you feeling today? Rafa, how are you doing today? Oh, you're feeling in the blue zone. Yeah, that happens. You got in a fight with your sibling. I wonder if there are some problem-solving strategies you might be able to use. Yeah, I think maybe an iMessage would help you get your feelings out, and then you could have a conversation, and then maybe you'd be in the green zone. If you're having that problem at home today, that might be a good idea to do. I know that when I'm having conflict with somebody, I get that feeling. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where you just feel kind of, you can just kind of feel it. And, and then I get nervous to talk to them because I'm worried they might get mad at me or I might not be able to solve it. But guess what? I've always been able to solve it. And I always feel better. So if you're having conflict with someone right now, I would suggest using an iMessage with them. Now, I will be the first to tell you that using an iMessage is hard, even as an adult. Sometimes I have to use them, and it's hard, but it always pays off. I'm feeling green. I'm in the green zone. I'm ready to learn. I'm excited to do math today. One of the reasons is because it is True or False Tuesday. Woohoo! And Mr. Kevin's new sound effects are amazing, and I'm very excited. Are you ready? Let's take a look at our first True or False Tuesday. 6 cupcakes come in a box. There are 8 boxes of cupcakes on the table. How many cupcakes are on the table? They said there are less than 50 cupcakes on the table. Is that statement true or false? There are 8 boxes of 6 cupcakes. True or false that there are less than 50 cupcakes on the table? Ding, 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 ding. Why? Why is it true? Because 8 times 6 is 48. Mrs. Evans shares the 8 boxes with 6 cupcakes in each box with the kids in her class. If each student gets 2 cupcakes, how many students are in her class? They said there are 25 kids in Miss Evans' class. True or false? So we know that there are 48 cupcakes, and each student's going to get 2. Putting it into groups of 2. How many groups are there? True or false that there are 25 students? False. What is 48 divided by 2? 24. Now, if there were 25, then there would be 50 cupcakes, but we don't have 50 cupcakes. 25 times 2 equals 55. True or false? False. What is 25 times 2? It's 50. 25 times 4 equals 100. True or false? Woo! Whenever I see multiplication with 25 in it, I automatically think about quarters. because quarters and a dollar, I know there's 4 quarters in a dollar and there's 100 cents in a dollar, so 4 25s is 100. So that's a really good landmark number for you to remember, that anytime you're multiplying with 25, think quarters and dollars. It just really helps you have a concrete understanding of it. And it makes it feel less scary. 25 times 6 equals 130. True or false? Again, think about those quarters. If I have 6 quarters, how much money do I have? Well, 4 quarters is $1, and 2 quarters is 50 cents. So that's $1.50, which is 150 cents. It's false. It should be 150. Okay, today we are learning to find the area of a rectangle using multiplication. Now, we've been working on this, we've been gearing up for it, and now you're not going to be able to see all the squares. Are you ready? You need to make sure you have your whiteboard and a pen. And what I want you to do is on your whiteboard, I want you to draw a rectangle. And we're going to just use this rectangle for a while. We're going to change the dimensions on the rectangle, but we're going to use the rectangle and we're going to put the information from the problems onto our rectangles to help us solve. Okay? So here's our first problem. We're not going to use inch tiles because you don't have the paper to do it on. So we're going to use multiplication. We're just going to start off using multiplication. It says use inch tiles to model the rectangle and find the area. So we have 3 inches. Could we get all 3, Mr. Kevin? 3 inches wide and 6 inches long. So what do we have? Well, we have 3 groups and 6 in each group, right? You don't need to draw this part. So I have 3 groups of 6. What is 3 groups of 6? It's 18 what? Inches squared, or square inches. Go ahead and write that down. Why is it square inches? Well, because right here, if it's 3 inches this way and 6 inches this way, this is an inch, this is an inch, this is an inch, and this is an inch. So it actually makes a square. And when we're finding the area, we're trying to figure out how many squares cover this entire surface, right? Okay, great. Go ahead and reset your board. You can just erase the 3 and the 6. I'm going to reset because I want to use a different color. I don't like that color. So I'm going to make my rectangle. And then I'm going to put my cap on my pen. Let's look at the next problem. What is the area of the rectangle? What do you notice? Yep, my rectangle is not very rectangle-y, is it? I need to draw an actual rectangle. That's important. Okay, so what do we know about our rectangle? Right, it's 2 centimeters wide. You can write the 2 centimeters on any side. I like to do it right here because it just reminds me that this is just like an array. And it's 4 centimeters long. What do we do? How do we figure out this whole area? What was that, Rafa? You can do the groups times the number in each group. Okay, I have 2 centimeters with 4 centimeters in each group, which is what? What do you think the answer is? What's the area of this rectangle? If this side is 2 centimeters and this side is 4 centimeters. Very good. It's 8 square, not inches, not units. We know our unit. What's our unit? Centimeters. Or you could write it like this, 8 square centimeters. That's this space right here. All of that is 8 centimeters squared. Okay. When you think about it as the area model or the array, it makes it really easy to figure out how many squares there are, isn't it? Yeah, they're squares that are a centimeter on each side. Let's go to the next one. It says, you can use square tiles to find area, which we know we did that a lot. The model below shows a rectangle covered by 1 centimeter squares for the problem we just did. But we didn't have those, did we? No. Mr. Kevin, we can do just the PowerPoint for this one. It says you can also use a multiplication equation to find the area. That's what we did. There's the length of the rectangle, which is 4 centimeters, and the width of the rectangle, which is 2 centimeters. You can multiply the length times the width. The area equals the length times the width. Now we did 2 times 4 because we did 2 groups of 4. Because in multiplication, we can, because of commutative property, we can flip them and they're still the same. Did we do that? Did we do 4 times 2 or 2 times 4? We did. And what did we get? 8 square centimeters. So how many 1 centimeter squares fit along the length of the rectangle? So Mr. Kevin, we can go ahead and look at this again. If we're looking at this rectangle, how many centimeters long is this rectangle? 4. So how many squares can I fit across? 4. And how many rows of 4 am I going to have? 2. 2 rows of 4. Now the formula for finding area is length times width. So we do 4 times 2. Then how we can do 2 times 4 if we want. Okay, back to the PowerPoint, Mr. Kevin. So how many 1 centimeter squares fit along the length of the rectangle? Yep, 4. What was the length of the rectangle? 4 centimeters. How many fit down the width? 2. So how many centimeters was it? 2 centimeters. We did the length times the width. We did 4 centimeters times 2 centimeters equals 8 square centimeters. So what's the area of the rectangle? Yes, 8 square centimeters. So now we're going to look at a square. What's the area of this square? Well, guess what? We use the same formula. We use length times width. This has 3 units in it. And this can fit 3 squares this way. I know those don't look like, oh, you can't really see them. So it's okay, because I didn't draw them very well. So what's our length? 3 units, right? What's our width? 3 units. So we have 3 groups of 3, which is what? What is 3 times 3? It's 9 square units. Okay, on the next slide, I'm going to read a problem, and I want you to figure out the area, and then I'll show you my thinking. Shay has a rectangle that is 5 centimeters long. The area of the rectangle is 10 square centimeters. What is the width of the rectangle? Whoo! Mrs. Wally, that's not finding the area. I know. So what are you going to do? I'm going to read it again. Shay has a rectangle that is 5 centimeters long. Get your rectangle, draw it. Think about where you're going to put the information you have. The area of the rectangle is 10 square centimeters. What's the width of the rectangle? Just get your model drawn. Mr. Kevin, how long have we been going? Perfect. Okay, where did you put 5 centimeters long? Right, you could put it here on top, or you could put it here on bottom. I chose to put it on top. What's the other piece of information we have to work with? There are 10 square centimeters here for the area. Well, if I know the whole area and I divide it into 5 groups, then I'll figure out how many groups, or 5 in each group, I'll figure out how many groups there are. So if I have 10, or I could do this. 5 times something equals 10. Solve. How many groups of 5 do you need to get to 10? That's what this is asking. 5 groups of something equals 10. So how many groups of 5 do you need to get to 10? 5, 10. 2. Is 2 times 5 10? Yes. So what was the width of the rectangle? 2 what? 2 centimeters. They threw a curveball at you. They want to see if you really understand it. Pretty good. Okay, now you draw. You ready? A rectangle has a length of 8 inches and a width of 6 inches. What is the area of the rectangle? Show your work. Go ahead and do this work on your whiteboard. I want to see a rectangle drawn. I want to see the length and the width labeled. I want to see your multiplication, and I want to see your area. A rectangle has a length of 8 inches and a width of 6 inches. What is the area of the rectangle? Length of 8 inches, width of 6 inches. I'm going to give you 1 minute. Go. All right, I have my rectangle. And I know it goes long because the length is longer than the width. So my length is 8 inches. My width is 6 inches. I know how many groups and I know how many in each group. So I know that I need to multiply 6 groups of 8, and this is inches, equals 48 square inches. So I know my area is 48 square inches. You could also write it like this. Area equals length times width. The area equals 8 times 6. The area, inches. Got to remember our units. We got to know, is it inches? Is it centimeters? Because the difference between an inch and a mile is huge, right? So 48 inches squared. There's lots of ways that you can show your work on this. This way is more what you do when you're in algebra and geometry, when you get into middle school and high school. But I wanted to show you that so you get a sneak preview. You're doing that exact same work right now. You're doing the exact same thing. They just start using letters to represent the different parts of the problem. Pretty cool, huh? You should feel like a strong mathematician because you're doing that work right now, just not with the letters. Nice work, friends. Your assignment today, page 323 and 324, working on finding the area or maybe finding the length or the width. Today, we learned to find the area of a rectangle using multiplication. And we also talked about finding a length or width using multiplication and division. We modeled the problem. We found multiplication problems that find the area. We explained how we knew. Before you go, you need to make sure to get your ELA packet, your pencil, and your learning buddy so you're ready to go with Miss Oslin today. You're going to have a break. Important to take care of your needs. Make sure your needs are being met. Get a drink of water, use the restroom, have your break, and then be ready to learn with Miss Oslin. Have a great day, third graders. I will see you tomorrow. Bye.
Greetings, young adventurers. You will be going on a quest. It will be a dangerous quest, filled with obstacles and dangerous creatures. Should you make it to the end of each level, you will receive a coin. Find all 4 coins, and you will be crowned the champion and receive this prize. Good luck, young adventurers. Well, time for my nap. Good day, young adventurers, and good luck. Greetings, young adventurers. Congratulations on collecting all 4 coins. Well done. By completing this quest, you will now receive your prize. I hope to one day see you again for another adventure. Goodbye, young adventurers.
Hi, third graders. Welcome back from your break. I see many of you have your materials ready to go. Wonderful job. If you have not gathered them yet, please safely but quickly do that while we discuss our 3 personal standards. Now, put up a finger and say these with me as we remind ourselves what we agree to when we come together so everyone feels safe thinking and speaking so that we can become stronger readers and writers. We show respect, make good decisions, and solve problems. And we are coming to the end of our biography unit. We have done a lot of work. I don't know if you have all of your graphic organizers and all of your drafts around you right now, but you have done so much work, third graders. Why don't you give yourself a chilly hug? Nice work. Now, last week, we looked at our drafts and we began to revise them, which is when we add to it to make it a stronger draft. And we asked ourselves some questions. We reread our drafts and we said, do the details, facts, and examples in each paragraph connect to one another? We asked, do I use words to link these ideas together? We asked, do I have enough examples to support my opinions? And we asked, do my ideas flow smoothly from one to the next, or do they sound more list-like? And we used the transition words and phrases document in our ELA packet to help give us some ideas of some transition words and phrases that you could add to make your biography easier to read. Today, I want us to learn that biographers revise their work, add to make it better, to include details and dates to help readers learn more about their subject. Now, you have worked really hard to gather a lot of information about your subject, and now you're going to go back in and add specific details and dates so that your reader learns more about your subject. And while we do this, you're going to keep in mind that one feature of biographies is that they're written in chronological or time order. So as we add our dates, we'll make sure that the first date is the earliest date that we want to start with, and the ending date is the latest date that we would want to end with. And let's look at an example of this. Our authors David A. Adler and Michael S. Adler, in the book that they have written. On this page, the sentence starts, in June 1952, Chavez met Fred Ross, who had been sent to San Jose by the Community Service Organization, CSO, to register voters for the coming elections. He changed my life, Chavez said. Ross explained how in the United States, even poor people had power. They just needed to speak out to vote. Chavez was convinced and went door to door and urged people to register to vote. At first, he was frightened he couldn't talk. Little by little, I got confidence, Chavez said later. In about 3 days, I was doing okay. Now, our authors may not have originally included this date or any of their dates in their biography. They had to go back and revise, add to it to make it stronger so that you and I as readers could learn more about our subject. So let's look at a chart, a graphic organizer in your ELA packet that is going to help you as an author revise to add dates and details to make your biography stronger. It is page 28 in your ELA packet, and it's called Dates and Details, and it looks like this. And I want you to find it and get it out, and then we're going to zoom in. I have a slide that's already zoomed in on the text that we can read together. So you just worry about gathering this chart. Go ahead. Okay, let's look at what our authors did. So the subject, our example is Cesar Chavez. The date that our authors included is June 1952. Now, there are 6 bullet points there. Those are 6 details that our authors included to go with this date. So let's read the details. Fred Ross is sent by the San Jose CSO, Community Service Organization, to register people to vote. Now, our authors included the specific name of someone who worked closely with the subject. We did a whole lesson about thinking about the people around our subject who influenced or impacted them as leaders. So, our authors show us exactly how to include the names of those specific people. It goes on. It says, Cesar says, he changed my life. We also talked about using quotes, things that people have said, either the subject themselves, which is the case here, or the people around them to make our biographies more interesting and to better explain who our subject is and what they have done or accomplished. The next bullet says, Ross speaks about the power of poor people and their voices. So this is describing some action. The next bullet, Cesar went door to door and urged people to register to vote. It describes action and included some really vivid verbs, which makes it more interesting, but also really specific language that makes it so I can really picture exactly what the author wanted me to see in my mind. The next bullet is, at first he was so frightened he couldn't talk. So talking about our subject and how they felt about what was happening on this date. And again, a quote, little by little, I got confidence. So when an author includes the specific date of an event or events, they're trying to tell us that it was really important to our subject. So for example, June 1952, and all of those 6 bullets that have details connected to the date, they represent one of the most influential times in Chavez's life. So our authors included it because it was really important. By sharing the subject's emotions, the specific names of people and organizations and quotes and action, the authors help us understand why this month, June 1952, was so important that they had to include it in their biography. Now, there are 2 things you can think about when you revise your drafts. You can find a date of importance and include details that are connected with that date. And you're going to do that on these boxes on your graphic organizer. So I'm going to give you a moment to go back and reread your draft that you have so far and make a note on where you could add dates and details so that your reader learns more about your subject. And I'm going to give you 1 minute to read back through and note or highlight where you could add more dates and details. Go ahead. That was 1 minute for you to make notes of where you could add dates and details. Now I want you to think about, where are you going to find the information that you're going to add? Do you have a book that you're using for your research? Is it already written down in your writer's notebook? Take some think time, and then you're going to share with your learning buddy, where are you going to get the information, the dates and details that you're going to add to revise your biography? Go ahead. Turn and tell your learning buddy where you're going to find the information that you're going to add to revise your biography. Rafa, I have a couple dates written down in my writer's notebook, and I'm going to go back into the books and websites that I'm using to research and see if there are a couple more, because I think I only have 2 dates written down, and I want at least 4 for my biography. Now, another document that you can use to help you is in your ELA packet, and it's page 29. This is a page, it's called a timeline, and this is really going to help us organize the dates and make sure they're in chronological or time order. So the earliest date that you have will go here, and you're going to write the date and the event. Then the next date in chronological order, can go here. And you just go down. See, it's a timeline. It's a number line. It's an open number line because, see, it has the arrow. Mrs. Wally would be proud. You can use this to help you not just organize your thinking, but you could also include this as a chart in your biography to help your reader really understand and organize and picture the important dates in order. Now, notice that there are 5 points on this timeline. You should have at least 4 dates, if not 5, to make your biography really strong so that your reader learns a lot more about your subject. Now, today we learned biographers revise, add to their work to include details and dates to help readers learn more about their subject. You did some thinking about where in your biography you could add dates, and you did some thinking about where you're going to gather the information, the dates and details that you're going to add. You have those 2 graphic organizers to help you, and that is your independent work today. Now, when you're independently reading as a reader, when you're reading your biographies, you can think about and notice how the authors of the biographies that you're reading organize their information and how they use dates and details to help you as a reader learn more about the subject that you're reading about. As you're reading, you're also going to pay close attention to, are you really understanding what you're reading? And if you're not, there are some strategies on this document that can help you. Also pay close attention to, when you're independently reading, are you actually focused? Is your brain actually thinking about what you're reading for the whole time? And if it's not, stop. Use one of these strategies to help you. One of the strategies is to stop and walk away and come back to it later. If you're noticing that your mind is just not able to focus, maybe you're hungry, maybe you're thinking about something else, maybe you're feeling a feeling really strongly, it's okay to walk away, solve the problem, and come back to it when you're better able to focus. You're also going to continue adding to your reading log, paying close attention again to how many pages and minutes that you're able to read, and send this to your teacher at the end of the week so that they know what it is that you are working on. Also, tomorrow is Wednesday, which is the day when we have special guests, we have our art lesson. So make sure that you have the materials ready to go for your art lesson with Miss Teresa. You'll need paper. She said any kind of paper will do, a pencil, crayons, colored pencils, whatever art supplies you have. Third graders, I want to thank you so much for working so hard, thinking and being really critical when you're looking at how you could revise your writing to make it stronger. Now, the affirmation, the positive self-talk that we are going to say to ourselves before we go off to that work is, I am important. Because sometimes we all need to hear that reminder that we are all important. So practice saying that with me. I am important. Excellent job today, third graders. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow in our TV classroom. Bye.
Hey kids, we want to see your work. Just send your pictures and your stories to TV Classroom, 601 South 8th Street, Tacoma, Washington, 98405.